Hello everyone, welcome to Morning Chess Kids. Today I show the game played by Iulian-Ioan and Jeevan, and this beautiful game complete in only 25 moves with the pawn checkmate. And let's see how the game play. The game starts with the pawn to d4, knight f6, knight f3, e6, bishop to G5, and this bishop is pinning the knight, so the knight cannot move to anywhere, and if you move, the bishop will capture the queen. Then D5 was played, and the white continued to play E3, trying to develop another bishop up, and you can go for bishop B5, check the king, and the king can go for a short castling. Then the black played h6 to chase away the bishop, and the bishop to h4 was played, and after this the black played c5, trying to develop and exchange the center's pawn. So this is the first 5 moves, and you can see that the position is equal. And then the game continues with c3. Black developed knight to c6, then the white continue to play knight b to d to keep on development of the pieces, and now the black takes the pawn, c takes d4, and the e takes d4, then the bishop to e7 and preparing for a short castling, and now the white play bishop to d3, then the black go for short castling, and the white also go for short castling. After this, the knight to d7, and this idea is to preparing to play f5 white to be. So after this move, the white is slightly better in this position in this move 10, and the bishop just move away, do not want to trade off, just go to bishop g3. Then f5 was played, and the next idea will be good if the black play f4 and we win a bishop, as the bishop cannot go back to h4 because it will be captured by the black bishop and winning a piece. So after this move, the best way you can play is move h3. So this will allow the bishop to move back to h2 position. But in the actual game, the white play queen to e2, and here this queen will attack the pawn at e3 and check the king, and then you're able to capture another pawn at d5. So at this position, the one of the idea to remain black for equal game will be push the f4 pawn. So this pawn will attack the bishop, and the bishop and the black will control the h4 square, and this the black will win one of the bishop. So if the queen to capture the pawn and check, then you can just move away the king, such as king to h8, or you just block with the rook. So if you block with the rook, the queen just capture another pawn, and now the pawn will capture the bishop, and the f pawn will capture it back. And after this exchange, the black will exchange with the 3 pawn for a bishop. So this will make the black equal position by winning a piece for the 3 pawn. Back to the game. After queen e2, the black play knight to f6 again, and this allowed the bishop to protect the pawn at e6, and the game continue with the white continue to attack with putting the knight into the center of the square by playing knight e5. After this, so this is also put the black in the center of the square to have more activity to play. And after this, f3 was played, and now the knight takes the bishop. So after capture the bishop, the pawn h takes the bishop, and this allowed the double pawn for the white at g4, and this double pawn will be a weak square for the white. In the center of the board. So after this move, the black just capture the knight, and the queen just capture it back. So at this moment, the black now become slightly better in this position, and then the black keep on the attack by playing a bishop to d6, attack the queen. So the queen back to e1. Then the black slowly push up from the e file. Another suggestion that the black can play is to play a queen to b6, and this queen will have the idea to attack the pawn at b2, then capture the pawn at c3 and attack the pawn at d4. So if you use a knight to defend, then you can just use the a5 pawn and attack to a4 pawn, and once the knight go away, then the queen will just capture back again the b2 pawn. So in the actual game, e5 was played, and after this the pawn just capture, and now after this the bishop just go to c5 and check the king. And here you cannot block with the knight or the bishop, and this bishop check is strong as the king need to move away. So if your king move to h1, then the will attack such as queen to g5 and goes to h5, and this will be like the side rank checkmate, or another typical back rank checkmate. So it's very difficult for the white to defend the square at g5 and h4. And it's the same if your king goes to h2, it will be also trouble for the white to play. So at this moment, the best move would be playing rook f2 and to keep the game safe. And if the bishop just capture, then the queen will just capture it back. And here, after the exchange, the white will be slightly better in we have here the same. So in the actual game, after the check, the king moved to h2, and this is a weak move. And after this move, the black continue to play queen to g5, preparing to go to h5 and have a simple checkmate. So in this game, g4 was played, and this allowed the pawn to capture. And after capture, then the knight will go to b3 and attack the bishop. Goes to and now the king cannot go back to behind, and here the black is winning and mate in 5. So the only way to play is the king goes to g3 and nothing much the white can do. And here you have a very brilliant idea of playing bishop to g1, and then the queen can come to h2 and checkmate the king. So if you move any move such as a3, then the queen will go to h2 and checkmate. So after this move, the only way the black can play is to delay the checkmate, and the king can just move away to h8. Then after this, the rook capture the bishop, then the rook will just check the king, capture the f3 pawn and check the king. After the pawn capture, then you can use the queen to h3 and check the king. And now the king only have two moves. So if the king move to f2 and capture the pawn, and you have a checkmate. And this typical checkmate pattern represents the swallowtail checkmate. So back to this position after king to g3, the pawn just captured in the actual game. And after this, the rook captured, and with this capture, the black mate in 3. I give a couple of seconds to figure out how the continuation of black to play and mate. Those who like to enjoy the show, here are the moves that the black play. The black play with the rook takes f3 and check the king. After the pawn capture, then the queen to h3 and check the king again. And now the king moves to f4, and you have a very beautiful checkmate with the pawn to g5 and check the king, as the king has no place to move and is fully controlled by the black. And with this, thank you.